Hello everyone, welcome to our hip opening practice. In today's practice, we're going to need something to sit on, like a folded towel or a blanket, and something to stretch the legs with, a strap of some sort. Today I'm just using a really long, sturdy scarf. So if you don't have a traditional yoga strap, then anything that you can use to stretch your arms and legs will be perfectly fine. And without further ado, we'll begin laying down. So go ahead and take a comfortable position. Lay down simply and take 5 deep breaths, just to become more aware of the body and where the mind's at as well. Adding a little bit more volume with each breath, inhaling, letting it all out with the exhale. And continue. Inhale very, very full. And then exhale until you feel completely empty. A few more rounds of that process. And remember, this is the cycle that we want to establish and maintain from beginning to end of practice. Breathing with depth and rhythm. So let's go ahead and lightly bend the knees. Bring the feet together and open the knees for butterfly pose. You may want to use a cushion under the neck if your chin tends to stick up too much. You want to feel that the shoulders are low and relaxed, the feet are even together, the knees fall out and down. Gravity does the work for you as you just relax, breathe, and stretch. So let's take 5 rounds here. And go ahead and lift the knees. Then bring the right knee to chest and elongate through the left. Rotate the right ankle several times. Nice and smooth. And do each direction. Then while holding the knee, go ahead and make a small circle with the hip. And do about 3 or 4 each way. You could keep doing that or open the arms, open the leg out to side, and then lengthen the leg, make a big circle around, bend the knee in, and continue this big hip rotation. This is good for both loosening up in the hips, and also it builds strength in and around the hips, the core muscles. We're going to do the other direction, so we'll do 3 or 4 each way. If you hear some noise in the hip, that's perfectly natural so long as it's not accompanied by a lot of friction and pain, then it's actually a good thing. And when you're done, take the knee back into chest, hug it into chest, tuck your chin, hug into the core just for a moment, and then relax. Lay it down, switch the sides, take the left knee into the chest, rotate the ankle, nice and smooth, and do both directions. And then make a little circle with the knee. You're holding the knee, doing a very gentle hip rotation. Do both directions. You can keep doing that easy version or open the arms. Leg opens out to side, circle around, knee bends in, and repeat with that. Do 3 or 4 each way. A smooth pace, both directions. Feeling all those little muscles become alive. It's these little muscles we're strengthening that are really supportive for our joints, not just the hips, but also the knees benefit from this as well. Very good. Let's go ahead. Come back to knees to chest. Actually have the right leg extended. Squeeze in with the chin toward the left knee, and then let it all go. Deep breath. Lift the right leg. You may want the left leg bent. We're going to place our cloth over the ball of the right foot. Draw the toes down and lift up through the heel. The foot tends to twist, so the big toe is down. So you want the toes to draw down, but to lift through the inner mound of the foot and draw all the toes down evenly. And if you really need, you can have a bend in both legs, but you may be able to straighten the right leg first and eventually the bottom. Lengthening the spine as well and keeping the breath nice and long. Hold firmly with the tie, but don't squeeze so that your neck or shoulders are tense. Find just the right amount of effort and breathe here. Very good. Go ahead and release. And let's do the next side. So you probably want to start with the right leg bent. Come into the stretch gradually. See how you feel. It might be tighter on the second side, or maybe it's the first side that's your tight side, but it's pretty common for one side to have less flexibility, so that's fine. If you can, you lengthen the top leg, and then eventually, as an option, lengthen the bottom leg. If you do notice you have one side that's tighter, what you'd want to do after the video is maybe spend a little extra time stretching that tight side more. That's how you bring evenness to the body. Bring evenness to the breath, nice smooth flow. And you can notice how this helps our muscles to relax, and our mind benefits from this rhythmic breathing as well. Very good. Let's go ahead and release from that big stretch. And the next stretch is going to be the Cradle Pose, or what some people call the figure 4. So bend the legs and then take the right ankle to the left thigh and have the ankle a little bit flexed so that it doesn't twist. Work the right knee away And if you're already stretching a lot, then that's all you have to do. You can stay here. Otherwise, you can bring the left knee closer. You can hold the hamstring or hold the left knee near the shin area. The neck tends to crunch up, but try and lengthen it. Maybe use your pillow under your head and work the right knee away from you to deepen the stretch, all the while breathing. And this is very good to stretch the gluteus maximus and piriformis. It's very good to alleviate and or prevent sciatic nerve pain that a lot of people suffer from for a variety of reasons. I'm going to take a few more deep breaths. And with patience and grace, we're going to switch sides. And just notice how we feel side to side. So start with the prep work, where you just line up your ankle and you flex your foot a little bit so your ankle doesn't twist. That's helpful for your knee. You can push on your left knee. That's all you need to do if you're already feeling a great stretch. Otherwise, bring it in a little more. Hold the hamstring or hold the shin. The left arm reaches through the window of the legs there. So that helps you to get your best reach. Keep the neck nice and long. Deep breath. Very good. Release one foot to the ground, then the other. Take a breath. And then knees to chest. Give yourself a nice hug. Tuck your chin, squeeze it in. Keep the knees in the chest. Lay back down for just a moment. You have the option of rolling to the side and lifting up slowly. Otherwise, we're going to start a little bit of a rocking motion. You can switch to holding behind the knees, and we'll roll our way up and adjust to a nice hands and knees position. Round the back and lengthen, very smooth. Do that 2 more times. Good. And now take 3 little gentle push-ups, hugging the arms in. You can lower part way or all the way, so long as your arms are really hugging in. Very nice. And then we're going to segue into a downward dog. The hips lift high, and the head relaxes downward. You're welcome to bend the knees. If your hamstrings feel tight, you want to lift the hips and really lift out of the shoulders. And lower the knees down, take them kind of wide, and do child's pose with nice wide knees. You can have your arms folded under your head or have them reaching forward for an extra stretch. Very good. Next, we're going to come up to sitting or a kneeling position and take a big step up with the right foot into a runner's lunge. The knee above the heel or the ankle. Lift the chest, and then lengthen the back leg, and lower the knee. And lengthen the back leg, lower the knee. One more time as a repetition. Lengthen the back leg, lower the knee. And now we're going to hold the raised runner. So we're going to come up onto the fingertips so that we can really work on lifting the chest. If the knee or the back hurts, you can leave it a little bent, but if you can really lengthen it and center that back heel and lift the chest, then you can gain the full benefit of the pose. Very good. Let's go ahead and switch back to a downward dog. And then having the knees down, maybe wide, take a child again. Come on up to sitting or kneeling, and a big step up with the left foot. Runner's lunge, knee in line with the ankle. We'll start with an emphasis of lifting the chest and really continue with that emphasis as we lengthen the back leg 3 times. So this will help to both stretch and build gentle muscle tone in the lower body. And do one more full repetition. And then hold the raised runner. And again, you can have the knee a little bent, but if you can fully lengthen the leg, then you'll maximize both the muscle tone and the stretching that we experience. Good. Let's exhale to downward dog. And then from downward dog, we're going to work on building up our core and doing a really light step to runner's pose. So right foot up, nice and slow. It's okay if you have to take 2 steps at first. We're going to take the runner, and then we'll take a hamstring stretch. So bring the hands back, hips back but not too much. Straighten the leg. It is okay to leave the knee a little bent, but otherwise you lengthen, draw the toes back, and lift up through the chest. And again, just like the recline stretch, the toes tend to kind of twist, but try and level them and flex them back equally. The hips tend to push to the side, but try and even them out. And then we're going to come back to the runner. Hold this stretch with the hands on the ground, or bring the hands up and hold the knee. And you even have the option of bringing the arms up. Let's go ahead and switch back to a downward dog. And working on the core, nice light step. Left foot up. Maybe crawl the foot a little bit if you need. And we'll switch to the runner and take a nice hamstring stretch. So we draw back, reach forward through the chest. Again, the foot will want to twist, but try and level it, even the hips. Maybe use the fingertips for a little extra height so you're not slouching too much. You're reaching forward through the chest and tilting at the pelvis to get that nice deep stretch in the back of the legs. The hamstring, also the calf muscle as well. Good. Let's come back to a runner's stretch. And either stay here with the hands on the ground, hold the thigh, or if your form is good, meaning even hips, knee placed, comfort in the body, evenness of the breath, you can extend the arms. Remember, the breath you could almost consider as part of your form. If you're losing the breath, you're losing your form. Better to back off and go deeper with the breath rather than make it look deeper. And we'll place the hands down and segue back to a nice downward dog. Lift the right leg high and then come forward to a swan pose. You bring the right knee up. You have the right ankle tucked back and the hips work down. You could use your towel or blanket if the hips are very tender or if the knee hurts. And if it's really not working for the knee, you have a couple options. You can go back to the cradle stretch that we did earlier, or go back to a lunge. Otherwise, we're gonna hold the swan a little bit. First, lifting the chest. It's kind of like a cobra pose, kind of like a back bend. And then we can lay down into it for a few breaths. And relax the neck and shoulders as well as the leg muscles and hips. Very good. Come on up. And let's go ahead and come back to a nice extended dog. And lower the right foot. Now lift the left leg and take left foot forward. Swan stretch. So the ankle's tucked back, the knee is a little open, a little wider than the hip, and you're lifting and opening the chest. Remember your different options. You can do cradle or lunge instead. Otherwise, the swan at first with a lifted chest. And this helps to strengthen the spine as you work deep into the hip muscles. And then we're going to melt down into it. Just let ourselves relax into a big forward bend. Relax the shoulders, neck and head, and keep breathing. Very deep breath. And we'll rise on up, glide back to the extended dog. And both feet down and both knees down. Let's sink into that nice wide child again. Let everything relax. Gently stretch in the thighs, back, and hips. And we're going to come upright and bring the legs out from underneath. Draw the sitting bones back, sit tall. Rotate one thigh in and out. And keep lifting the chest. And do the other leg. Very good. Now sit very tall. If you'd like, lift the arms, drawing the abs. Now some students will prefer pushing into the floor or just lifting the arms part way, but if you can get really long arms, really long spine, it's actually very good for your flexibility and your core muscles. The legs are active, toes can flex back a little bit. Now you want to reach forward through the heart and hinge at the hips again. Come into that forward bend stretch. Sitting on your folded towel can be helpful. Bending your knees can be helpful. Or if you can't reach the feet, it's totally fine to use your strap as well. Let your head relax, both the forward and down motion of the head, and also just relaxing it internally. And breathe. Very good. Next, you may want to sit on your folded towel or blanket. We're going to be doing a posture that for some may be a little extreme on the knees. It's called Gomukhasana, which translates as the cow head. Another name for this is serenity. So you want to feel serene in the pose. More props will help with that. You tuck under the left leg, and then at first, the right leg can come around just a little bit, and that's fine. And then eventually, you can have the foot tucked across a little more, so the feet become kind of like mirror opposites of each other. And you take a nice lift of the chest. You want tall posture here. And we'll add a little twist. A twist to the right. Breathe deep. Come back to center. Still holding the pose for a breath or two more. Nice tall posture. And we're going to gracefully release the legs and switch. Maybe add more cushioning if you felt that last side was a little bit more difficult, or if you know your second side is a little tighter. We're going to switch to have the right leg. So the knee is kind of more toward the midline. And then you bring the leg across. At first, this is totally fine. This may be a huge stretch, and you definitely don't want to overdo it on the knees. You bring the foot across. Adjust your towel or blanket as needed. We're going to sit tall. The length of the spine is really helpful, not just for having healthy posture, but for having the best outcome in a nice twist. So we'll take the twist to the left. The shoulders sometimes kind of cave in on the twist, but keep them open and breathe. Very good. We're going to come back to center and keep sitting tall for a breath or two more. Feeling nice and serene in the pose. And we'll unravel the legs. And we're going to switch to doing some recline yoga. So lay down on your back when you're ready. Take knees to chest. And then open the arms, legs to the left, body twists right. If you know more intermediate versions of the recline twist, don't hesitate to add those. Otherwise, this basic form is typically very nice to help you release deep, not just in the spine, but also in the hip muscles as well. And we're going to go ahead and take the other side. Keep the left shoulder grounded, and you can optionally use the right hand on the thigh to stretch a little more as you keep breathing. And when you feel nice and complete, unwind and rest in Shavasana. We'll do a brief Shavasana today. You're welcome to turn the video off and do a nice long one. Otherwise, a couple minutes just to rest, breathe softly, and reset. Gently wiggle the fingers and toes. Come back to knees to chest. Give yourself a nice deep hug. And in your own time, come up to a comfortable seat. We'll sit tall in our comfortable seat. We'll do a clearing breath and then rounds of Om. So breathe in. Open mouth, exhale. Good. And rounds of Om. Inhale. Thank you all so much for practicing with us today. Namaste.